welcome to episode 260 of the Ben Briggs podcast. I am Ben Briggs. It is Tuesday, people. It is Tuesday, the 24th of January, 2023. And this is brought to you at 7 o'clock at night, people, because I've been running around all day. I am also, again, suffering with some sort of fucking cold that's come on today. I know, it's this extreme cold weather that we're having at the moment. It was fucking -5 this morning again. I know people in far-flung countries of the world where it drops to about -50 or something like that. Screaming at the moment, pussy! But to us room temperature guys, such as myself, it's fucking cold. That's for sure. Anyway, I shall struggle through this. My nose is fucking dripping, I tell you, at the minute. So please don't watch this on the video because it's going to be me fucking wiping my fucking nose every 2 seconds. But we shall endeavour to struggle through, people, and bring this podcast to you today. Also, I've got a cup of coffee as well because I feel like tea is just not... It's not going to fucking cut it today. So let's have a little bit of coffee. There we go. I've literally just watched a Panorama documentary that was recommended to me today by Robbie Tussin. Gets a shout out on the podcast. Well done, Robbie Tussin. About it's the Panorama documentary. I don't know if you've seen this, people. Documentary fans out there, you get to learn shit without reading a book. What more could you fucking want? Half-an-hour episodes of Panorama on our BBC. Our proud BBC. Yeah, it was the Panorama documentary about dogs, dealers and organised crime, it's called. He says, looking down at what he's got fucking... his notes he's made about this. This is all about the... it was a documentary. It was a half-hour documentary as well. So they didn't go into massive detail about it. They just give you a brief interlude of, hey, this is what cunts are doing with dogs. Anyway, back to your lives now. Forget about those dogs. It was all about extreme breeders of dogs, which sounds a little bit like they're going snowboarding whilst trying to inseminate dogs as they're going down the mountains. But it was mainly focusing on the bulldog breeds, like the British Bulldog. Hey, there's one of those behind me right there. The British Bulldog breeds that are prevalent at the moment because everybody wants some wrinkly and cute with a fucking, with essentially no nose. They just want a dog that's got a flat face with wrinkles that are coming all over it. Coming all over it? Maybe that's the wrong term, that are coming all down the face and that sort of shit. So you've got the little bulldogs like that. Then you've got the American bulldogs, which were obviously trying to invade the Middle East. Here we go. There we go. No, the American bulldogs that are a bigger breed, oddly enough, and they just go around mauling people. So there is, it had an undercover reporter who they always seem to say that on the camera for those things, hidden camera footage, which, you know, Not many, nor I think we can work that out for ourselves now, can we? If it's jolty and you've constantly got that ASMR scratching sound going on and it's at mid-height, the camera angle, I think you can tell that it's sort of like possibly hidden footage. Nobody's going to walk in there with a camera crew and somebody who's illegally breeding dogs is going to go, hey, come out the back to my insemination little clinic that I've set up for them. Come on, come and see the freaks I've bred out the back here. That's all what essentially one side of it is they're essentially just doing what dog breeders have done for generations when they bred dogs down from wolves to all the different fucked up little breeds you've got now. That came from one animal, the wolf. And then obviously people have bred them over the years to accentuate certain features, which is pretty much what these dog breeders are doing, but they're doing it like a Dr. Frankenstein fucking creations that they're making. They've got there was one of the dogs, it was 8 months old. 8 months old. It looked like a fucking The Ultimate Warrior. Do you remember? Do you remember the wrestler from the 80s and early 90s, The Ultimate Warrior on WWF? This dog looked like that. All it needed was tassels and round its fucking elbows. This thing was fucking ripped. It looked like it was roided up. Looked like it was going to fling off from the top ropes with its warrior paint on its face. Jesus Christ, this thing. And it could barely... It kind of reminded me of every guy who goes to the gym who doesn't do their legs. It was all fucking top heavy. Not that I go to the gym, people, but we all know. You all know that image of the person, don't you? How can you be that fucking defined up top and then still get into skinny jeans? You're not doing leg day there, people. It looked like every one of those. Like a cartoon dog. Sort of like Butch from fucking Tom and Jerry. That's what it looked like. And its feet were splayed out and it was barely walking. It was real fucked up, horrific stuff they're doing with these dogs. But the little tiny bulldogs, they've got they're bred for the wrinkles and shit like that. And they're just, their breathing sounds worse than mine. Today. Any day, really. My breathing's terrible. I only recently found this out by listening back to the podcast that I have a intensely nasal voice. I know this, people. That is because air doesn't come out of my fucking nose because I've got a constantly fucking block. I'm a very snotty person. Oh, dear. I'm a naturally snotty person with a fucking hooter on him that seems to be constantly blocked. But having researched how to try and EQ this fucking noise out of my voice, because I was like, everybody else's podcast sounds great and I just sound like I'm holding my nose. That is the reason why. So genetics are working against this podcast, people. In many ways, I am the freakishly bred bulldog of the podcasting world. That's how I see myself. And I've got the fucking wrinkles on my face as well. Ah, Jesus. I'm essentially like an overbred bulldog. That's what I am. I'm happy with that description, though, people. I am happy with that description. These dogs are just fucked. Their skeleton can't handle the amount of muscle that they've got, so their legs are fucking turned out. They're walking down the street like fucking Charlie Chaplin. It's like a roided up Charlie Chaplin. That's what these people are breeding. I watched that, and then this was all wrapped up in half an hour, by the way. It went from them to American Bulldogs, which are just fucking huge. And with the American Bulldogs, like the English small Bulldogs, they're for like women, celebrities, they want some cute. The American Bulldogs is exclusively for criminals, it looks like. That's, you have a very different sort of breeder that I noticed. With the British Bulldogs, the old Churchillian British Bulldog, you've got there's a guy who they were trying to expose who was breeding like fucked up versions of those, flat face, loads of fucking wrinkles, loads of fucking fat on them, short stubby legs. He was like privately educated, doing it with an insemination, doing artificial insemination. Like basically he was wanking off dogs and like inseminating other dogs with it, with a needle, not rubbing it on his own cock and sticking it in there. That would be a bit weird. Dear. Anyway, so you've got that sort of breeder. He was like privately educated into kind of more sciencey, and then when it got to the American Bulldogs, every breeder they went to see exclusively had tattoos on their faces. That's the sort of different level that you're looking at. These are the guys who crop the ears of the American Bulldogs as well. I don't know, man. It's quite nice rubbing the dog's ear, isn't it? Hello, mate. How you doing? When they're not, trying to go for your neck or something like that. But I don't know why the cropped ear. Like, I know it makes their ears go in a V point, but they fucking cut the ear, the flappy bit of the ear off. Obviously, it's to make them look more aggressive. Can't they just ban that breed completely? They banned like, what was the one that they banned? Fucking, it was some sort of bulldog, wasn't it? Pit bulls. They banned those fuckers, didn't they? Can't they just ban the American Bulldogs as well? I know there's people out there probably going, well, there are responsible owners, Ben. There are responsible owners out there. But yeah, it didn't look like they, when you're going around to look at a load of puppies and the guy's got a fucking, looks like a child has doodled all over his face and he's happy with that look. Dear. Hello, this is how I greet the world. I mean, like, we've all met dodgy car salesmen in our time. But if you're going to hand over $5,000 or $6,000 or whatever amount of money these dogs cost, and you go round to meet somebody round their house and he answers the door and he looks like a fucking doodle pad that you've made at work, you're going to think twice about investing in that. You're going to think, actually, maybe this breeder potentially isn't legitimate, being as he's quite happy to go around with pictures all over his face and writing. It's bad enough, like, if people, I start thinking dodgy about people who have hand tattoos. Or one on the neck, but when you've got them on your fucking face and you're in a service industry, I don't think that's a great salesman look, to be honest. Let's have a look, a little bit of coffee here before it goes cold. But yeah, there's definitely exclusively scum. That's what it looks like, who have American Bulldogs. You may, there may be people out there who will disagree with this, but you are potentially people who own American Bulldogs or have family who own American Bulldogs. And I just want to put it out there, yes, that scum is you and your family. So I'm happy to clear that up. But it was just fucking horrendous. And then it ends with a story of like some Murmurs young lad, like only 10-year-old, got attacked by a fucking American bulldog. And what the fuck is a 10-year-old going to do against fucking a dog that pretty much looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime? It was just fucking heartbreaking, man, listening to her story. And the people who owned the dog got about 4 years or something, and she's lost a kid. It's fucking brutal. I said it like just attacked his face and his neck, and oh man, heart goes out to people like that, doesn't they? Can't they just ban those those breeds of dogs specifically? Because they're just being bred for one thing, as a fucking weapon. Because you see people walking around with those dogs. It's never a middle-class couple, is it? Out for a stroll on a Sunday morning. They've got a child with them. The dog's really well behaved. It's not jumping up at people. They've got a normal lead on it. They haven't got like, one of those rocky fucking fucking leads and collars that Rocky bought for Budkins in the fucking 80s. It's always somebody who exclusively wears sportswear. They've got a fucking, they've got hair shaved as short as possible up to here. There's a definite line where for some reason their barber doesn't fucking blend in the top of their haircut from the bottom of their haircut. So they're shaved, number one, up to there. Then they've got whatever. There's a definite fucking demarcation line between the side of their head and the top of their head. In sportswear, barely dragging the dog back. They'll usually give it a couple of slaps if it jumps up at somebody. I mean, that's not going to annoy them, is it? That's great dog ownership, isn't it? When they're jumping up at somebody to give them a fucking whack. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it's just bad people not owning dogs, isn't it? But fuck me, Jesus. I mean, like some of the freaky dogs they were turning out. The initial people with their fucked up arms and fucked up legs. Yeah, no. That would be a fucked up dog if it had arms like coming out the front, like a little fucking velociraptor or something. Yeah, fucking horrendous. I didn't realise. And oddly enough, people in organised crime, because they can charge so much for these dogs, they're basically selling them. They're taking the business model of drugs and applying that to breeding these fucked up Dr. Frankenstein style dogs. I know, it's horrendous, really, isn't it? I fucking love dogs. I love fucking bulldogs as well. And you can't get hold of one that isn't fucked up. I'm going to die. As soon as it becomes warm, they're going to die because they can't fucking breathe properly. Anyway, I can. Maybe it's just because I can empathise with that today. Having a bit of a sniffle myself and not being able to breathe out of my nose. Maybe I'm empathising with these dogs today a little bit too much. Who knows? Who knows, people? Anyway, on happier news, there's been another mass shooting in America. Fuck. There's a fucking segue for you, people. From dogs that are brutally mutilating children to mass shootings in America. That's one thing. I'm going to need coffee before I start this, by the way. There we go. Greedy coffee drinking that was. Anyway, let's crack on. Yeah. So the third mass shooting in as many days in America. You know what? There's a lot of things wrong with this country. Mainly our dogs. But there's an awful lot wrong with this country, the UK. America has just, I don't know, man. I just can't relate. Like over here in Blighty, where in the afternoon we're eating cucumber sandwiches, we're having a cup of tea, we're having a slice of Madeira cake every day, and other stereotypes about us. Yes, we have a little bit of knife crime over here, quite a bit, a lot more than we used to have. Yes, we've got dogs out there mauling children, which is horrendous. Although saying that, they are American bulldogs. Our British bulldogs, yeah, they're not going to do any mauling, are they? They're just barely walking around, waddling around, wheezing. They're not going to attack your throat, are they? Our British bulldogs, the worst you're going to get off a British bulldog is probably a nip around the ankles. But these American bulldogs coming over here, brutally mauling our people. There is a lot wrong with this country, right? We are not, infallible. Is that the right word? I don't know. We are not without our problems in this country. A lot, and historically, if you look back in history, it is not a good view back there. Yeah, that's why everybody in this country tries to focus forwards in there, because if you have a look over your shoulder to what we used to do, holy shit, we have come a long way. However, one of the things I love about this country is I can get in an argument with somebody in this country, in our green and promised land, and 99,999 times out of 100,000. Have I got that right? 999,999 times out of a million, even. Somebody's not going to pull a gun on me. I have never gone into work or gone into any public space worried about a mass fucking shooting in this country, which cannot be said for people in the States. When I was at school, nobody worried about mass shootings in the school. The biggest thing we worried about in school was either was the caretaker. I'm joking. There's an old trope. There's an old comedy trope for you, isn't there? Is the PE teacher. But yeah, one of the great things about this country is the fact we have strict gun laws, so we don't have to worry about that. There's very few shootings. Shootings do happen, obviously, but it's pretty much kept to the criminal fraternity, and that's pretty much crime on crime. Is that too much crime on there? But yeah, another mass shooting in California. This was a you had an old guy do it the other day. Took out a load of people, and then today there was another mass shooting, like of Chinese workers or something like that. It's just you can't wrap your head around it, and I know that's like an American situation. But, your heart just goes out to people like that, like senseless killings. I mean, when we seem to have had like a spate of like terrorist attacks a few years ago in this country. Sort of like before the COVID era kicked in. And there was loads of stuff going down in London, people getting stabbed, like people hiring vans, just ploughing into people and shit like that. And the senseless sort of destruction of that is, is shocking to us over here in the UK to have, every now and again, we'll get a mental case who goes like absolutely balmy with a fucking shotgun he's got from somewhere. But we don't have automatic weapons or anything like that over here. If you've got a shotgun, you need a fucking license for it. And it's mainly landed gentry, isn't it, out there shooting a fucking partridge or grouse shooting or something like that, isn't it? they've got a hell of a kick on the back of them as well. I remember years ago going clay pigeon shooting and almost taking my fucking shoulder out. That'd be the worst. That'd be the worst shooter ever, wouldn't it? Just somebody who tries to carry out a mass shooting and on the first thing he doesn't put the fucking gun in his shoulder properly and just puts his shoulder out, just taps out. Okay, that'd be a very British mass shooting. That would be the guy hurting himself. I don't know, but yeah, it's just I don't know, man. Just seems another senseless fucking. You know, if people go mental in this country and want to kill people, you have limited options to do that. You know, you can't all do it in one place because you haven't got a fucking machine gun or an automatic weapon. You've got to be, you know, fast on your feet. You've got to put the work in. If you want to kill a lot of people in England or the UK or Great Britain even, you've got to put the work in, man. You know, you've got to build up your forearms, get a decent knife, go around stabbing people, move locations because somebody's going to call the police, have a disguise kit in a bag, maybe. You'll be able to pick off a few more in a different location. You've got to travel to be able to do that. You know what I mean? You've got to put the work in if you want to be a mass killer in this country. In America, they're fucking lazy when it comes to mass killings. Isn't it? They just pick a location, grab a load of ammunition from the local supermarket, take a gun. You know, you could buy a gun that afternoon. You could be a mass killer in America on a whim. You can't do that in this country. You've got to put planning in. I don't know. But it's just going to continue over there, I imagine, isn't it? And it's all for profit, isn't it? All for profit. That's all it's for, isn't it? The only reason they haven't got strict gun laws over there, it's nothing to do with freedom or, you know, or what most people over there think is having their rights infringed. They've played that card, and a lot of people over there have believed it, that it's about freedom and their rights. Their rights are being infringed as a citizen. Their right to protect themselves, and all of that shit, isn't it? All it is the gun companies wanting to fucking make money, and under the pretext of you're keeping yourself safe and your family safe, and you know, every now and again people go fucking mental, and people's families get you know, unfortunately get killed. It's a fucking horrendous thing. Anyway. Let's have a little wipe for the nose here. I don't know why I did that. I've just literally done that right into the camera. I'm sorry about this if you're watching this. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, what are we on? 28 minutes, people. This is more or less, what have we covered? Not a lot. Fucking horrendous dogs and California mass shootings. Yeah, it's. I remember, like they changed all the laws because there was the Hungerford fucking massacre, weren't there? I think that was in the 80s. I remember that happening where somebody was just walking around. You see, he had to travel, walking around a village, fucking killing people. I've actually done a gig in Hungerford as well. And I remember getting the booking for the gig, and I was like, I'm sure there's something about this place. I'm sure there's something about this place that I fucking remember, something horrendous. You know, there's certain towns in the UK where the name comes up. Hungerford's one of them. Lockerbie, because of the bombing. There's the other one as well, where there was a mass school shooting as well, which name escapes me. It's the one Andy Murray was in, wasn't it? I forget the name of it now, but like there's certain places that are always obscure, but they're going to be synonymous forevermore with some horrendous thing that's happened there. Yeah, I remember getting a gig at Hungerford and then thinking, what is that? And then Googled it and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yes. I remember that. Don't go off on a tangent about mass shootings in Hungerford, Ben. Hey, they may have at that point in my comedy career, I didn't have a lot of stuff about mass shootings. It's not like these days where 90% of my material is now exclusively about mass shootings. You got to do what you believe in yourself. You be your true self, Ben. You talk about those mass shootings. Anyway, that is episode 260. We got through it, people, didn't we? With relatively few, with no sneezes and relatively few nose wipes. So, yeah. I hope this hasn't sounded too nasally for you, but that is my voice at the best of times. So at the moment where I physically can't breathe out of my nose, I am literally the epitome of the British Bulldog here. I am Churchill, if anything. Don't want to be associated with him these days, people, do you? Jesus. Don't. I'll have a crowd of people with pitchforks and fucking torches outside the old Briggs Towers. He's the new Churchill. Get him. Anyway, that is episode 260, people. I hope the rest of your week is good and you stay out of there dodging bullets, literally and metaphorically. I want you all back safe and sound on Saturday listening to this. Holy fucking shit. I've got a few gigs coming up this week. Tomorrow I'm in Coventry for Shams a Man. Thursday I'm in Tamworth. At a place that I've done a few times. I forget the name of it. And Saturday I'm at MCing, Just Tonic in Leicester. So if you're about or anything like that, come down. If you're not, if you're listening to this abroad and thinking, well, I'm not flying over to England to watch this guy ask people what they do for a living. When he's MCing on a Saturday night. It's not just that I do, people. I do other stuff as well. I ask them if they're married as well. Fucking hell. Anyway, that is the end of this episode, motherfuckers. Have a fucking good week. Try and be the best motherfuckers you can be. And I shall speak to you on Saturday. Take care.